right, and you are welcome back to the most exciting hour on Saturday evening. This is still the Ladies Circle, and when I tell you tonight is about to be an exciting time, take my word for it. Abadope is our guest this evening, and we can't wait to get into the meat of the matter with her and chop it up with her, get her thoughts on some of the pertinent issues. Now, this particular issue, I think is one that is near and dear to all of our hearts. This idea of brain drain, the Nigerians call it jakpa. Some of you say, Chale, afolef. Times are hard indeed. What is accounting for this huge migration of our nation's talents to other shores to seek greener pastures? Is this something we should be encouraging, or should we be retaining our talents as a nation? Well, like I said, Abadope is here in the house, and this is something that you can certainly relate to. Leaving your home country, going somewhere far away, just trying to make it. And now a lot more young people feel the same way like you did. They want to get out of here. How many times, and all of us ladies, are you just, walking through town, interacting with others, and they're like, Chale, afolef. Chale, afolef. Kedeli. Abado, talk to us. This idea that, Chale, your home country is not doing it for you. So, afolef.
Yeah. So, I traveled, right? I was here, I needed help. I didn't have anyone to help me by then. I lost my dad, and my mom was not really doing anything that can push me.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? If my mom couldn't help, I can help her. So I took a bold step. I traveled all the way from Ghana to China.
Whoa.
Without thinking of language barrier, without thinking of humanity, without thinking of how I'm gonna be treated, without thinking of nothing. I was like, I'm just going. So I went there purposely because of school. I was done with nursing training in Ghana here.
Yeah.
I wanted to further my education, but comparing the school fees, I realized when I go to China, it's quite easier.
Okay.
Comparing the currency exchange and all that. So I traveled all the way to China, to my school, Hunan City University, at the Hunan province. So when I went there, I started schooling, and I was like, during weekends, we are not in school. We are at the hostel, all right, but I can try and do something. So I met some Ghanaian guys who were like, oh, for them, they do teaching as part-time job.
Yeah.
I was like, teaching in what language? Because we are in China for crying out loud. They were like, oh, no, you can try English. I was like, oh, wow, then I'm gonna give it a try. I went to different schools. I think 2 of my first schools, they sacked me.
Oh.
Because there were some words I couldn't pronounce to their understanding, like lion.
Lion.
When I was in Ghana, lion has a tail. Lion. It has a big head and a very small waist. To me, uncle, when I went there, the kids were all gathered there. I was there, a tutor. I didn't know they have secret cameras capturing us. So I was like, my lion, lion has a tail. With confidence, When I was done, one parent met me outside and was like, did you say lion? I said, yes, lion. I said, no, we say lion. I said, okay. I thought it was a joke. I was there, the principal came in and was like, you know what? We cannot have you as an English tutor. You have to go home. Oh, I was there for 3 days. I'm like, for Mrs. Kamame, if you are sacking me, I have to get paid. Yeah. So they paid me for that 3 days. I didn't lose hope. I went on YouTube. I started learning pronunciation and trying to pick up some 1 or 2 words. I'm like, you know what? My second school, I'm not going to be sacked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I was sacked again. It was about Thursday.
What was the word this time?
Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So after teaching the kids, the principal called me and was like, the T and the H sound is supposed to be on the tongue.
Yeah,
Thursday. I'm like, hey. Then in Saturday, I was sacking. So Monday to Thursday, they cut me off. They didn't even allow me to add Friday, Saturday, Sunday. To the office. I ended on Thursday. Sacked. So I was like, hey, God, no. I was still going for it. I started learning more. I went to some of the guys, the Black Americans, I have to work with a fake passport. If you are in China and you are having African passport, you cannot get school to teach.
Okay.
So I have to pay an agent for him to give me a fake Megoran. Megoran means I'm an American. So they gave me a fake Megoran passport. Then I took it to my third school. So this time I was fully prepared. I knew my words, I knew my sentences, I knew my pronunciation. I was like, I'm going in for this. And boom, I was taken.
Yeah.
I love that. That is a very inspiring story. Like, you decided not to give up. But I want us to speak to our young ones, you know? Because there's this idea that when you leave the shores of Ghana, everything is going to be rosy. And I love what you said, that you didn't think about language, but you didn't think about humanity. There's something about living in someone else's country.
Yes.
Listen, when they say there's no place like home, it is very true. I think a lot of people think, oh, if I leave, my life is going to change, I'm going to be happier. But there are some pitfalls to leaving home to seek greener pastures.
So what would you say to them?
Okay, what I can say about this is, if you are in Ghana and you think you can fulfill your dreams, you think you have a beautiful dreams, you have this passion of doing something, but unfortunately, you have no help. When you start, you'll definitely have a helper. Because moving from Ghana to different country, sometimes we'll call friends. Hello, I want to come to Canada, I want to come to China, I want to come to Europe, can I get help? Some of them will tell you, oh, come. When you come, there is an accommodation, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. But considering the monthly bill, considering the daily transportation, considering your eating, the food and everything, it's never greener there. They make it or they flaunt it like, this is so green, this is so beautiful, this is something that when you come, it's so easy. Some of them will be like, okay, come, I'll give you my document, you can work for me. When you are done paying, you can have your freedom. You can never have your freedom if you are not lucky.
But there are some people who actually do go and do.
That's why I use the word luck.
Yes,
Just
you
to
know.
add to what Abadoke is saying, I think sometimes we also don't think about the countries we are migrating to, how economically it's going to affect them. Because recently, I think the UK Prime Minister has announced that if you're a migrant coming into their country on a work visa, you cannot come with your dependents anymore. Because
they realize
that, yes, exactly. Because it's too much for them to actually take these days. And lots of people want to leave the country. So I think sometimes we also need to consider the country that we are moving to. Are we going to put too much pressure on them? Their resources, can they even accommodate us whilst we are moving to
I mean, there are countries like the UK that obviously are trying to shun people away, but there are also countries like Canada that are actually welcoming foreign.
Are they?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
they're
welcoming, but
no, they are welcoming you because of a purpose.
Yes. So the campaign now is that they are trying to bring well-educated, well-trained, well-skilled people, hands from the African countries to Canada. No, there's a whole campaign where they're really absolutely pushing, right? Sometimes you have those conducive, ideally conducive conditions. However, when you get there, the issue is, do the people themselves want you there? It's understandable if the government decides that we're going to set up policies and enact policies to bring people, because clearly we need the hands. And they're taking the people here that are skilled, not just any person, not just, oh, anybody off the street. No, they want to see your qualifications. They want to see that you're going to come and build their economy. And if you're not smart, you'll be building somebody else's country, somebody else's dream, and not your own. But once again, there are some people who weigh the pros and cons, Abba. And listen, the dollar and the euro is always going to be stronger than the CD.
The dollar and the euro will be stronger, we know. But every year and its rules and policies. This year, we've opened the doors, we've opened the rooms. Come to Canada. We'll give you accommodation, we'll give you job opportunities. That is for the year. Next year, there will be new rules that maybe, if you're not lucky, the dollar, the pounds, and abadabadino will bring you back home.
And I don't want to sound hypocritical and say, well, don't go anywhere. Stay right here. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person because things are tough. And especially for those who maybe have relatives abroad who can support them. Like Abba said, if there's accommodation, you can at least feel free. If there are a few family members, you won't feel too lonely. But for those who maybe don't have that cushioning, really think about it because the loneliness that can engulf you as an individual when you're not home, it has driven people mad. This is the truth. You can go somewhere that is extremely racist and not feel, feel comfortable. I remember being in Italy just on holiday in Naples, and I think myself and my friend were the only black women there. And I mean, everywhere you went.
They were calling you Beyonce?
That was in Rome. But in Naples, they were like Chocolatina, Lady La Mocha, Nicki Minaj, and you think it's endearing, but after a while, you can see that it's become some sort of fetish. I've gone to other places where they were blatantly unwelcoming. You know that you're not welcome there. And all those things have an effect on your psyche. So even though, in some respects, I'll say, go out there. If you have some support, go and see if you can make it work. Just never forget that some of those elements might also exist. And Abba, would you say you felt comfortable when you were away? Or were there times when you were like, Charlie, Abba Zini?
Yeah. When I went there, especially the food we eat over there was a very big problem for me. But lucky for me, I went there with Gary. I went there with Kobe, I went there with someone. The Kobe Kwe.
And there's always African market everywhere.
No. It depends on where you are going. You have to learn 1 or 2, maybe 1 to 6 months before you can be able to know, when I go to Guangzhou, I can buy this. When I go to Hubei, I can buy this. But in the beginning, you were a newcomer.
So what were you eating?
I was eating curry almost every day. Yeah.
Abba has been able to transition from jackpying, as we say. She was out there, she was trying to make something for herself. And then she decided to come back home. And as she has come back home, she's still been able to do something for herself. She's still been able to run a successful business, which actually lends itself to the messaging that maybe if you put your mind to it, if you are maybe determined enough, if you find your roots and your ways here in your country, you can actually make it. What do you think allowed you to come back to Ghana and still be able to thrive? Because you were in Ghana before, and you felt like you had to go outside, but now you've come back, and you're making it happen. Do you feel like the people who are saying they want to leave, they are not putting their mind, to what they really need to do to be able to be successful?
I came to Ghana not purposely because I came to hustle. I came because of COVID. When it was coming, I was scared because the city was close to my province. The place where the COVID started, was close to my province.
What is this? Wuhan, they call the place.
Yeah, Wuhan, and I was at Wuhan, and I was at Wuhan. So we were neighbors. So I was like, you know what? While I'm home, panting, being so scared, let me just come back to Ghana. So when I was coming, I bought some few things online. When I come to Ghana, whenever I come to you, I'm just coming because of COVID. But I don't know whether I'll be locked up in Ghana. Let me bring some things. So when I come, I sell. So when I came, because I was having my nursing ID, I was able to roam while others were in the lockdown. So I was roaming with a car while I have things locked at the boot. I go to apartment, I go to homes. I was selling clothes, bags, shoes. I was selling a whole lot. And lucky for me, due to prayers and my determination, everybody that I went to patronized me. So I was able to raise some money. Then when I was like, okay, let me try and go to clubs and talk to their owners whether I can sell kelewele and see whether it will go. It tastes good. So I started with this kelewele and all that. D Block gave me a space at Cantonment, the Osu branch, a small space, and I was able to create some wooden structure on the space, and I was selling kelewele. Later on, I added shawarma. One day, one guy came, they were very, very tipsy. They were like, they want something pepperish. So I was like, okay, then let me do angwamo for you. I started with angwamo. All the guys came. They ate, they ate the angwamo muchumoko. So then, whenever whoever comes around, please do you have anguamo? Or some people came to eat anguamo, I want the same. I was like, oh, this is business. I was selling only during club hours.
Yeah.
When the club closes, I close. When I realized the engagement, I was like, okay then, when the club closes, I'll buy Pepsodent and brush from a nearby shop, brush my teeth, do ablution, then restart. So then I moved from working during club hours to 24 hours. When I close, I'll go to ablution myself, and then I'll swipe right on social media. We are not only for club hours. During the daytime, she was my customer. She saw my beginning, like she saw how I was and everything.
Making the marketing work. You don't even need to do too much.
Yeah.
I have never, for once, paid an influencer or anybody that advertised my food for me for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even when people didn't know me, I was still my marketer. When people enter the club, I'll go talk to them. I have anguamo, I have this. I was doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So till now, I'm still doing.
A friend of mine shared his personal experience with me, and he was like, he loved ICT so much, like IT so much. But when he looked at the educational system, it wasn't rich enough to support that dream. So he had to go outside the country to get that skill to be able to chase his dream. And currently, he actually works with one of the big brands in the United States of America.
Amazing.
I am hoping that he'll be able to come down because he has faced that challenge and he understands how things are here currently with our educational system. Students that are suffering with trying to understand the practical aspects of some of these things, projects. So hopefully they can come down here to help us deal with these. Exactly. So I don't think it's always the case of going to look for greener pastures. But when you go and it works for you, you should actually consider coming down to help
to bring that expertise
honestly,
back.
Look, we have been failed several times.
There are quite a number of people who want to do that. They still come back and are challenged with the structures on ground. And then that obviously deters them. But another thing that I'm taking from Abba's tale and stories that I think Abba is a beautiful tale of the power of personal branding. Which is something that we hear, especially in Ghana, because Ghanaians, we are timid. We don't want to, expose ourselves. We don't want to show our personality. We don't want to put ourselves out there. And understanding that, okay, fine, nobody's coming to save you. You are your own savior.
I do also want to speak to officialdom, government, policy makers, all those who are in charge.
Leadership of Ghana.
Because Professor Frimpong Boateng is a former energy minister, world-renowned cardiothoracic surgeon, heart surgeon. And he said something profound last year. He said, young people in Ghana have a future they can no longer afford to postpone. Time is ticking. It's now time for leadership to also think about the youth. A lot of people in Ghana think, when they think about the future, they don't see a lot of brightness. When they project into the future, they don't see a lot of hope. So, as the months progress, as the years progress, it's also up to government to ensure that young people in Ghana also live in dignity. That when they look on the global stage, we can feel like, yes, I too can compete. I am also here. I hate it when I'm in an international space and I see young Africans feeling timid, feeling shy, don't want to come out, but we are just as exceptional. Listen, go anywhere in the world and you see any world-class team, NASA, engineers,
even
doctors,
Hollywood.
We have Hollywood. There's a Ghanaian everywhere.
That's very true.
We are more than capable. And that's why I wanted to speak to leadership is that, do you want to watch all your talents, Jakpa, leave? Do you want to watch all your brilliant minds leave the shores? Trust me, we have what it takes. It breaks my heart because sometimes you leave these shores and anything can happen to you. So that's just my passionate appeal that, listen, we are somebody. Why should I leave my home?
I wasn't proud when I was in Ghana. Somebody would say that. But when I'm outside Ghana, I still, when they are doing something and it involves African, I go and I lift my flag like I'm a Ghanaian. Who are you? Oh, I'm from Ghana. So meaning we are still proud to be Ghanaian. But just that they didn't give us what will help. So we think we are doing money comparison, salary comparison, allowances, housing and all those things. When I go there, I can get them within the shortest period. But you know, when you go, you have to come, like Sis said. If you don't come and you give the money to auntie to build the house, they'll eat the money.
Oh yeah, they'll spend.
Plenty people have chopped
spend the money.
I'm telling you.
The house is in their stomach.
Yes, it definitely is. And speaking about government policies and things like that, I personally think we need a total overhaul of the educational system in Ghana. In fact, this chew and pour system that we still have in 2024. My goodness, I still remember my time back in University of Ghana. To be honest, I think I just passed through the school. The school did not pass through me. You know, people literally were in London, we're in the States, we're in Australia, we're in Canada. Whilst we were having classes, writing down notes, still came back, wrote exams and still passed. People were making money while some of us were sitting in hot lecture rooms. Why? Because it's a matter of taking someone's notes, reading, chewing, and going to write it. We really have to, it's like we need a complete overturn. I know China now introducing AI into nurseries, into like primary schools, teaching the kids from jump. What it means to be relevant and make money in this day and age. Please, where are they teaching us that in Ghana? We need institutions that come out that say, okay, let's teach you a skill. Let's teach you something that's going to be able to allow you to compete with your global counterpart and actually go there, excel, come here, excel. And then obviously infuse this mentality that we can build our nation, and this is the generation to do it.
That's right.
These Gen Z people who don't mess around with their time.
They don't agree for
anybody. We need you to be radical, and we need you to actually show that, you know what, you people couldn't do it, but we can do it.
Capitalizing on the skills, but wow, we could talk about this for hours and hours to come.
All right, well, on that note, let's pay some bills. Let's take a quick commercial break, like we like to say here. Stock up on all your snacks because it's going to be fun. After the break, more games, more interaction with a beautiful guest. As you know, this is the Lady Circle. See you on the other side.
Lady Circle.